Hey guys, welcome to the first video of this series where I'm going to show you how to make a warm-up routine that caters to your strengths and weaknesses. In this video, I'll go over what makes a warm-up routine good and what the goals of a routine should be. One of the most common mistakes I see with my students is copying a pro's warm-up routine. Pros' needs are very different from the average players. Copying them will not utilize your full potential to improve. Consider this: when someone's studying for the ACT or any standardized test, a person with a high score such as a 32 does not need to practice what 2 plus 2 is or basic grammar rules. They need to work on more advanced topics. While someone who has a low score of 18 should just focus on algebra to get the most out of their study time. Neither of them would get much out of a study guide made for both of them because half the time they'd be unproductive. The same goes for warm-ups. If you're spamming bots on hard mode, hoping to reach double digits, or practicing 180 macro flicks like some pros do, you're inhibiting your growth. I can assure you that there are mechanics with higher priorities at your skill level. That being said, warm-up should not be looked at as something to get you ready for ranked matches. It should also be looked at as practice. You're probably watching this video right now to find a new warm-up routine to take your game to the next level. What if I told you the only way to do that is to practice? Practicing is the best way to improve, and making your warm-up routine more like practice is how I made my way out of ELO hell. In ranked games, it's hard to practice mechanics that are uncomfortable for you because there are too many things going on and the stakes are high. Let's be honest. You're not going to spend hours in deathmatch or in the range to practice these mechanics after you play ranked either. You probably have school, a job, or like me, 1,000 episodes of One Piece to catch up on. Since you aren't a full-time Valorant pro who's getting paid to play all day, the best way to work on these mechanics is to incorporate them into your warm-ups. It's also important to make sure your warm-ups are always changing. As a player starts to become better, the routine has to adapt. In order to become better at anything, you have to challenge yourself. There are always variations, so try not to get comfortable doing the same thing for weeks in a row. However, be honest with yourself and work at the skill level that best fits you. Whatever you do, please don't look like this guy. This is called ego lifting. The Valorant equivalent is this. Those people are obviously doing something that is way too difficult for their skill level. Whether they really think they're that good or they're just doing it to look cool, it's not helping them at all. If you guys want to improve, please work at your own level. Changing your routine also allows your mechanics to grow equally across all categories. Unless you have an hour to warm up, it is impossible to hit every mechanic. Instead, focus on certain mechanics for a week or two and alternate them. When changing routines, they don't have to be completely different. Just make sure to touch on the other mechanics and consider adding variations. Mechanics that can be included in a warm-up include strafing, tracking, recoil control, micro adjustments, flicking, and more. I learned the importance of changing my warm-up routine the hard way. Back in my gold days, I always had a set warm-up routine that I did fairly consistently. This ended up being a major setback for me in the long term because I left out many mechanics in my routine. After watching my own VODs, I noticed that I was not moving my crosshair at all when strafing in gunfights. I was placing my crosshair to the left or right of enemies and moving until my crosshair was on their head. The problem is that if they shoot me, I immediately get slowed down. With my crosshair not on their head and me anticipating to be moving at a faster speed, I would shoot and then miss short. This was a very bad habit that stemmed from my warm-up routine. I would never be moving my crosshair when practicing strafes. I fixed this by adding a variation to my warm-up routine that used the tracking motion. If I've done this earlier, who knows what rank I'd be today. After seeing how my warm-up routine was failing me, I did a complete remodel. I made a system that changed every week and allowed me to add variations as I saw fit. Making these changes single-handedly turned me from hard-stuck gold to a diamond player in one act. I believe making these changes can do the same for you guys too. I appreciate you guys, and the next video on methods involving strafing will be posted soon. Peace.